First one we're going to touch on is culture fit versus culture add. So as you guys look at those two graphs right there, anything stands out? Anybody? So one is look all the same. The other one looks very like different pieces, but both are all connected. So when you think of the culture fit, you're thinking of defining strict parameters and really adding people to your team that fit exactly those parameters. When you think of culture add, you can think of the same parameters that you define, but wanting to bring people into your building or into your team that have different skill set to generate diversity of thoughts. Both can't be true. Like, both can work. I think the buyer beware with the culture fit is making sure that you don't add only people that have the exact same skill set as you or just like you, because then if you have 12 Catherine around a table, you'll get probably a Catherine solution to a problem. And as a leader, that's not what you want. The best example I can give you is when I was at the Eagles, Howie Roseman, our GM, one of his superpower was hiring. And he had this ability to just see in people things they could bring to the table. We had someone who had spent 10 years in New York trading. We had someone who was a former lawyer, was in a big firm, mergers and acquisition. We had someone who had spent over 15 years designing Broadway shows. So super diverse skill set, very, very diverse backgrounds, but it really made this team very unique in how these people came together in building this roster who won the Super Bowl last year. So when you think of your team, I use the number 53 here because we have 53 players on our roster, but that number could be any number. We don't need 53 of the same person. We need 53 aligned leaders who compete. 3 words here: alignment, leaders, compete. Alignment is an absolute non-negotiable. That starts from the top. That's with your key stakeholders. I would push it all the way to hyper-alignment, because that's the only way it trickles all the way down to your team. Leaders, that also starts from the top, but that doesn't stay in the top. Everybody on your team can lead in a way, and we'll talk about it a little later, of how we can lead from the middle. And then compete. I mean, I'm sure we're all very competitive here. That's the nature of the industry we picked in sports. But what are some of the ways that we can foster a competitive environment for our players, our staff? I'll give you a couple examples. At the Browns, for the players, we have leaderboards in the weight room. And we have a player, Myles Garrett, a pretty good defensive end. He wants to break every piece of weight room equipment we have to just, have the highest output he can have in order to set records. And then anybody who gets even close to him, he wants to compete and beat them out. So we encourage that, we foster that to make sure that we're competitive in everything we do. We post play speeds on position meeting rooms so guys know who was the fastest at practice and who put the most work in. So just really creating an environment where we can embrace and foster that competitiveness. So the tool, what kind of tool can we use here? Define the standard framework. So this is actually a workshop that we did last week with my team, my football operation team at the Browns. So here I use these 3 questions to create ownership, empowerment, and ask my staff to come up with answers to these 3 questions. And the goal was twofold. 1, have them identify the type of culture they wanted to operate in and how they wanted to best serve each other and best serve our players. For context, the groups that I oversee at the Browns, they all are front-facing with the players. So it's not coaching staff, but it's everybody else, from performance, medical, to nutrition, to player development, video, equipment, etc. So they came up with the kind of environment they wanted to operate in. And then the second fold was to make sure that we can define the actions that we needed to see. Because words are great, but the actions get stuff done.